Hello, good afternoon. My name is Elena Tarashi. Today I'm going to be discussing the impact of the industrial organizational psychology field and what topics has brought to further improve the workplace. The topics today include the history of IO Psych, the socialization process, work-family conflict, job performance, and counterproductive workplace behaviors. The history of IO psychology is incredibly diverse. Many names like Karl Marx, H.M. Vernon, and Frederick Winslow Taylor contributed to this field as it's known today. The concept of the scientific management proposed by F.W. Taylor was the starting philosophy of the research in IO psychology. It proposed that workers who perform their work tasks are different from their design tasks. They are more rational, and workers who perform better when there are good economic reasons, and that studying issues in the workplace are important to the research. Scientific management is what turned the field into more of a research-oriented design, where studies were being done to understand the concept of employee efficiency and performance. A great example of this is the Hawthorne studies. The researchers conducted this study to understand the impact of the environment on employee productivity, and they found that employee productivity increased regardless of the changes in light. Now, the Hawthorne effect is an idea that many people understand, even outside of the psychology field, and we see it every day in any working environment. And for those who don't know, the Hawthorne effect is the effect that any environment, productivity will increase. We see it every day. But however, that is not the only finding. They found that work groups enforced this productivity and that employees reacted differently based on different leadership styles. These findings play into how IO psychology formats its research in the more recent years. Another person, Kurt Lewin, identified action research. Now, action research is where researchers and organizations collaborate together and use their findings to improve the workforce. This idea is what most of IO Psych became. Researchers conduct their studies, and practitioners use their findings in organizations to improve their outcomes. Now, more recently, September 11th, 2001, has changed how organizations operate permanently. Emergency preparedness became a necessary part of organizations, so a disaster like 9/11 does not surprise them again. And specifically, an emergency plan has been researched to keep deaths to a minimum when a disaster strikes. A similar event happened with the economic recession of 2008, where unemployment was increasing. These recessions led the organizations to reevaluate their contracts and policies that impacted their employees and research how they can make them better. Now, researchers of IO psychology have been impacted by global changes as well, like the Vietnam and Afghanistan wars. These changes allowed for more complex areas to be studied. Now, this is only a glimpse of the history of IO psychology, but it is so crucial for understanding how the field evolved over time through its research. As more research is conducted in the field, even the socialization process is understood in the academic side of IO psychology. Now, as a grad student myself, most of the socialization process revolves around figuring their ideas out without much support. However, for my program, each student is assigned a faculty member that we can contact when we need this support or have questions. Mentoring is common in my program, and even I have gone to my mentor for advice on the next steps for my degree. Students who want to pursue academia contact a professor and learn through them with various means, mainly student teaching. The socialization process varies depending on the program. Some can use serial socialization, which is used for students who decide to pursue working on a dissertation. This dissertation helps them learn the ins and outs of the research process before going into the work field. My program utilizes investigator socialization, where each student brings their unique skills while learning the course material. Additionally, my program socializes grad students by teaching them how to professionally communicate through emails and classmates' interactions. Professional communication is crucial in every career, but especially psychology because of the constant communication going from practitioner to client. Now, socialization is mostly successful for the students who are proactive within their program. Therefore, it depends on the student if they gain enough information that transfers to their job. Most grad students ask questions, they go to career fairs, they make acquaintances within the program. And this is hard to achieve with online programs, which is what I'm in. So it's harder for us to socialize because we're not on campus. A mentor can only do so much for them if the student does not make effort to interact with them. As each student graduates, the skills they learn go into their pursued career field and their recent jobs. There are many students who are successful after they graduate from my program, so I would say that the socialization process is successful. However, for socialization to achieve the success rate that is needed, grad students need to be proactive. This is a skill that translates well into the career field as well. Organizations are appreciative of potential hires who are preemptive and adamant of their potential position. Therefore, a grad student can only be as successfully socialized based on how proactive they are. Now, socialization is incredibly important to positively impact employee satisfaction and performance. However, another concept that can negatively affect employees is work-family conflict. Now, everybody knows work-family conflict, but it's when multiple roles in an employee intersect and end up interfering with their work tasks. So, an example of this is a parent who needs to pick up their child at the same time their work shift starts. There are many ways that an organization can support their employees through these conflicts. One of them is supervisor support, where management can be empathetic and understanding to the employees. Even some supervisors help their employees find solutions to their conflicts, so their performance is not affected. These types of people in management can create a culture in the organization where the employees do not have to be afraid to ask for help or assistance. The negative emotions inhibit the ability to be efficient, which causes further issues with employee performance. Work-family conflict causes an increased level of stress, so a supportive supervisor can make all the difference for the employees. Additionally, family-friendly supervisors can encourage the use of work-family policies through being supportive. Now, many employees, sometimes they don't ask for help because they fear that their coworkers will negatively think of them because they did. So, a positive working environment is crucial to a success of employee. Another way an organization can mitigate work-family conflict is through work-family policies. This can be on-site daycare, benefits for families, and working from home, to name a few. With more organizations, including remote work, since 2020, the ability for a work-family balance is more available to the employees now. And furthermore, remote work grants this ability for the organization to collaborate with their employees to restructure their jobs as they see fit, so their performance does not diminish in their multiple roles within their job and in their homes. These policies can be enforced through communication and making sure the employees know that it's there. The organization plays a big role in supporting their employees through their conflicts, and the work environment is crucial for an employee to balance or integrate these conflicts so they flourish. When they treat their employees right, their employees will treat their job tasks more seriously and be more productive in the long run. So even in the midst of work-family conflict, an organization is constantly focused on assessing job performance. And there are multiple measures that are used to measure job performance. These can include paper-pencil tests, job skill tests, on-site hands-on testing, off-site hands-on testing, high-fidelity simulation, symbolic simulation, tasks rating, and global rating. So, I'm going to assess my employees' job performances through 3 ways: a paper-pencil test to determine their level of ability, simulation tasks to assess performance during these tasks, and behavior-anchored rating scales to assess overall behaviors. Now, paper-pencil tests are common in organizations who need to perceive their employees' performance from observation alone. Surveys from multiple supervisors, including myself, can provide various perspectives to dictate the job performance of employees. Additionally, paper-pencil tests will be administered to the employees for a self-reflection of their job performance. Now, these both types of data can be combined to reflect on the true picture of the job performance of the employees. Regarding simulations, there are many simulations that an employee can complete to measure their job performance. I will use a simulation for tasks from their personal job department and more mundane tasks to measure their job performance for everyday tasks as well. Using simulations can determine how an employee performs in the tasks, which can translate to their actual workday. I will pick tasks that can be used across different job positions to see how each employee works in different positions. Regarding behavior-anchored rating scales, I will incorporate behavior that indicate when an employee is doing either a good job or a poor job. Adding behavioral insights allow management to understand how an employee is acting. And furthermore, it is important to assess the employees during different times of the day to understand their job performance, what is considered their peak and typical performance. So, I will focus on behavior tells, employee and management task ratings, and simulations to measure my employees' job performance. And understanding job performance is crucial because the organization is only as successful as its employees. To maintain peak performance, an employee needs to be respected and understood. While job performance is what keeps an organization afloat, organizational constraints can keep their employees from working effectively. Frustration can cause any person to act out in spiteful ways. And I know that I have done something when I'm frustrated, and everybody has those days. An employee can sabotage their work, though, by wasting time, being absent without prior notice, stealing from the organization, lashing out, engaging in physical violence, involving themselves with substance and alcohol use, and partaking in sexual harassment. For an employer, that is detrimental to their organization. However, there are multiple things an organization does that leads to counterproductive behavior, and one of them is a feeling of injustice. Employees who feel like they have been treated unfairly are more likely to lash out at the organization. Low employee wages, racism, sexism, ableism, ageism, among other injustices can provoke this amount of frustration to make them act out. Additionally, poor working environments may cause counterproductive working behaviors because it invokes fear and anxiety. And according to the stressor emotion model of counterproductive work behavior provided by Britt and Jacks of 2014, emotional stressors are more likely to lead to these behaviors. And a stressful working environment can be due to poor equipment, abusive supervisors, and a toxic working environment made by petty behavior from other coworkers. Every person who has worked with someone who has had a bad day can say that they would also feel negative as well. And this type of domino effect is what makes a work environment toxic, alongside other factors like abusive individuals. When the organization normalizes this type of negative behavior, more employees will engage with it because they want to fit in. And furthermore, unnecessary policies, rules, and regulations can enhance an employee's frustration and worsen the organization's environment. Even so, some employees are simply prone to counterproductive behavior because of their personality traits and emotional reactions. Now, these individuals are influenced by the bad working environment because they just have the opportunity to, and therefore, These constraints can lead employees to engage in violent and negative behaviors because of this frustration and opportunity. They take their emotions out on the organization to garner their attention. So, in conclusion, IO psychology has come a long way in research. We've learned what makes an organization efficient and productive, and that employees are truly what makes the workplace. As long as they're treated with respect, the working environment is considered healthier, or at least it can be with more work. As long as they're treated with respect, it's healthier. Although people are hard to change, so keep that in mind. Not everything is going to be healthy, and people are always not as willing to change. So, thank you for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed learning about IO psychology and all that it entails. Have a good evening.